I remember, all right, if that's what I got to do, then that's what it is. So
Yeah.
that was one of the revelations to the trip. And already I think in the subconscious, the story started developing in my mind of
Yeah.
what the story was going to be of the movie, but I didn't have it yet. So as I'm coming back
Yeah.
from Peru, traveling to Colombia, and I ended up in Argentina. It
Mm-hmm.
was, I don't forget, it was March 12th, and then March 13th is when the pandemic started,
Yeah.
and the whole world stopped. And I was in Buenos Aires there with maybe 20 other people from different countries in a hostel. Everybody was leaving. They had chartered planes,
Right.
Germany, France, and everybody was moving. Nobody came for me. I was like, there's no charter plane for Bolivia, like not even a condor or a llama.
Right.
And here I by myself in a hostel in Buenos Aires, and I was like, okay. And I thought this is gonna blow because I was gonna continue traveling to Chile, but it was already 4 weeks. No, actually 2 weeks, and then everything was shut down, restaurants, and
Yeah.
I needed to eat.
Right.
And they gave us time to go and buy things in Buenos Aires. We had a certain time, and certain grocery stores were open for just this for a short period of time. And you had to buy things.
Yeah.
I've never cooked in my life. I
Oh.
mean, not maybe a pandemic or why.
Mm-hmm.
And for me was all right. I have two choices, and I think one thing that maybe the ayahuasca or the effects of clearing myself, purging of the different things. It was to be fearless,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I did that. I said, like, you know what? I follow my intuition, and I grabbed a budget. I said, like, I can, and I knew Argentina had a high inflation, so I
Yeah.
had choices where I'm going to make my film. And to me, it was the right moment because everything was quiet, and I said I decided that I was going to make my film during the pandemic because I had. It's not a, I would say there was something inside of me said I have to do it because I procrastinated. What if this goes on? I don't want to die wishing I had tell my grandkids, yeah, one day I wanted to make this film. I never did it because of the pandemic. No, I was actually, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And I called Argentina. I said to the guys over there, so I find me a team. I want to bring some jobs to Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the crazy that I have, and they loved it. It's like this is about the story. I'm a very Catholic guy that says remove the mask to become a badass. And when I arrived there, we had a team, a small team,
Sure.
um, and that was, I would say, a very good experience to be in the middle of. There was protocols, and you got to wash your hands. We respected all of that,
Yeah.
but the project was we shot it in 15 days, 16-hour
Wow.
days, back to back to back to back.
Wow.
And that experience was like no other. I was completely in the flow.
Yeah.
When you are doing something that you enjoy,
Yeah.
you can go with no sleep, or sometimes that's like 3 or 4 hours. But
Yeah.
writing, working with the team, and the other thing is my team in Argentina are the smartest people that I met. I'd say 10, 20 times smarter than me.
Mm-hmm.
Director of photography, my director of sound, art. Um, Argentina has a high caliber of artists for the film. They don't get the credit, but incredible talent. The city, and it's like Paris, Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I was very lucky to work with smarter people than me in Buenos Aires. But that was very helpful. But 15 days
Was language ever a barrier for you to work with the team? I know.
because my native language is Spanish,
Yeah.
I was able to communicate with them
Okay. Yeah.
regularly. Uh, but the movie, when you see it, has a
Mm.
Spanglish sections in it because of the character that's he lives in the subconscious mind of the main character, and so he uses Spanglish to go back and forth. That gives it a different kind of a real. But language was never an issue because that speaking Spanish that helped me actually that helped me tremendously to connect with
Mm.
these guys, and so that was the experience. And to answer your question, it was a transformation experience
Yeah.
that have gone through the belly of the whale, developing the film, put it together, and then I sent it to France, where I said, because nothing else was going on, so I sent it, and they responded to me like, hey, you want to welcome me to Cannes, France? Come down to.
Wow.
I was like, I was reading the letter, thinking like, it could be the beginner's luck. I think there's such thing. I believe that. Um, and then out of France, I went to Switzerland to the Zurich Film Festival.
Zurich. Mm-hmm.
That was also a good experience. But I think one thing you have to keep in mind is your ego.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's something that I'm still working on, and I think I have a long way to go with that. Because the
Yeah.
moment that you don't control your ego, you're pretty much lost. I think you have to really remain humble. One thing that I
Right.
notice is here I am in Cannes with all the producers. I've done one film. Um, there's this other guy. I don't know. This guy has 100 films. She has 50, and then yet here I am and sitting at the same table with these guys. They
Yeah.
invited all my idea, my film. All of a sudden, your head starts getting bigger.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I start thinking like, oh, I am like the hottest thing. I'm like this filmmaker, blah blah blah. And because I mean, to be fair, I was able to direct, produce, and act in the movie, and also I composed the songs and music with my friends out of
Wow.
necessity because nothing else was going on. So we had to do everything myself, and I didn't realize that I had this energy, creativity inside of me. But
Mm-hmm.
that was just a beginning of okay, you have the talent, but that means you have to continue to develop it. You have
Yeah.
to be very humble and still continue writing, directing, telling stories, continue singing, continue composing. You cannot just go there like, oh my God, I'm this hot guy, and blah blah blah. And then, because your ego will let you
Yeah.
inflate it to the point where it explode. And it did happen to me. I was in Zurich and every excess you can think of. Because they invited us to different villas in France. You have champagne, you have access to every from A to Z, and you're living this life. I'm like, whoa, you're coming back to sleep at 3 in the morning. There's
Mm-hmm.
on times with parties and all sorts of crazy things, and you can easily get trapped on that world and go down
Mm-hmm.
the rabbit hole. And it's
Right.
just you really, but unless you experience it. The same thing in Zurich. Zurich, when
Yeah.
I went to Zurich after that, it was the same world of excesses, a lot of things, and you have two choices.
Yeah.
You can go that route, as most of filmmakers go, and you have access to a lot of crazy things. Because I remember in Zurich, there was a couple of times I don't know how I made it back to my place. It's and I said, when your ego is on that level, you come back after the two festivals. I crashed and burned
Oh, wow.
because it was the ego has a way to also to teach you things to keep you humble. Because I
Yeah.
was also acted in the movie, I portrayed one of the characters, and I really embodied that character that I was portraying in the movie.
Okay.
So a lot of, because I had to really become that. So
Yeah.
there was complexities of, I would say, psychology, transformation, and things. And it got to a point where I really crashed and burned, and I remained inactive for maybe 2, 3 months, really very depressed, in a very dark hole. My friends are saying, "Hey, we got some other film festivals. Do you want to come?" And I responded, and it really took an assessment of where was I going, what was I doing this for.
Yeah.
But coming back to the real world,
Yeah.
you have to accept the present moment as
Yes.
it is, and
Yeah.
that is part of life. So coming back to reality, it was not an easy task, even though I made it back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, am I the same person? Probably not, and I'm happy for it. But it's also taxing because you're always connected to this. You see things differently.
Yeah.
Uh, but going forward from here is I've learned a very important lesson from that journey, and working on my second project now, but with more humbleness, I would say. Same curiosity and exploring. I just spent a year in Southeast Asia. That
Okay.
was last year. I was traveling through all the way from Cambodia to Nepal to Indonesia.
So for you as a storyteller, you've experienced food and culture in so many different continents, right?
Yeah,
Right from all the way to Amazon to some Western food, as well as Southeast Asia. As a storyteller, what would you say are the synergies but between these different kinds of foods that you experienced, and what was your favorite like?
So I would say for all of us, I speak on behalf of our human species, I think the best chef we'll ever meet is going to be our moms,
Undoubtedly.
undoubtedly. And I was wondered why it's when your mom cooks for you, what is that ingredient that makes it so irresistible and so tasty? It could be this most simple thing,
Yeah.
yet you cannot get it. I just had some dinner. My mom made this. We call it tortillas de torrejas de espinaca, which are basically it'd be like a blini, like a crepe, but you
Mhm.
mix it up with flour, very simple stuff. You put some spinach in it, flour, you mix it, and you fry it. A
Mhm.
little rice, and then a nice sauce of onions and things like that. Very simple, and
Yeah.
yet some of the most delicious. When I eat it, I look at my mom. Oh my God! I'm like, wow, I am so lucky to be. And then my
Mhm.
grandmother, same thing, grandma. And I remember asking back in the day, I asked grandmother, why is it what you cook? She goes, we have the most interesting ingredients because it's called love.
Yes. It
We
is true.
cook we cook with love for our loved ones. When I
Yes.
cook for your mom, when I cook for you guys, same thing with my mom. We add this special energy of it's an extra ingredient. So what I've learned, even in Argentina, when I was cooking, is that love to put the good energy on preparing things with a good attitude. If you're doing
Yeah.
the flour, you have to be singing and you're doing this and mixing it out. Sometimes you burn things. Okay, what the hell? And
Yeah.
I think that there's a process about making this food because with your mom makes it with love for you, and I think that is a common denominator everywhere that I've traveled. I've asked people from Egypt, Jordania, Israel, and Indonesia, and they both agree that our mothers are the best chefs that we.
True.
If we're gonna emulate something to cook, I think you have to emulate your grandmother and your mom, because
Yeah.
how would she prepare something? And the other component is you prepare for friends and your loved ones.
Yeah, yeah. I did notice that when even it comes to restaurants too, the restaurants that are most spoken about, most popular among everyone are the ones where the chef is truly passionate about what they're making. Right?
Absolutely.
It goes back to the same love that you're talking about, that mom or grandma. It may not be exactly the same, but they have like that true passion for making the food and things
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, I was in
So, for
India.
you as a storyteller, you've experienced food and culture in so many different continents, right?
Yeah.
Right from all the way to Amazon to some Western food, as well as Southeast Asia. As a storyteller, what would you say are the synergies but between these different kinds of foods that you experienced, and what was your favorite like?
So I would say for all of us, I speak on behalf of our human species, I think the best chef we'll ever meet is going to be our moms,
Undoubtedly.
undoubtedly. And I was wondered why it's when your mom cooks for you, what is that ingredient that makes it so irresistible and so tasty? It could be this most simple thing,
Yeah.
yet you cannot get it. I just had some dinner. My mom made this. We call it tortillas de torrejas de espinaca, which are basically it'd be like a blini, like a crepe, but you
Mhm.
mix it up with flour, very simple stuff. You put some spinach in it, flour, you mix it, and you fry it. A
Mhm.
little rice, and then a nice sauce of onions and things like that. Very simple, and
Yeah.
yet some of the most delicious. When I eat it, I look at my mom. Oh my God! I'm like, wow, I am so lucky to be. And then my grandmother, same thing, grandma. And I remember asking back in the day, I asked grandmother, why is it what you cook? She goes, we have the most interesting ingredients because it's called love.
Yes. It
We
is true.
cook we cook with love for our loved ones. When I
Yes.
cook for your mom, when I cook for you guys, same thing with my mom. We add this special energy of it's an extra ingredient. So what I've learned, even in Argentina, when I was cooking, is that love to put the good energy on preparing things with a good attitude. If you're doing
Yeah.
the flour, you have to be singing and you're doing this and mixing it out. Sometimes you burn things. Okay, what the hell? And
Yeah.
I think that there's a process about making this food because with your mom makes it with love for you, and I think that is a common denominator everywhere that I've traveled. You know, I've asked people from Egypt, Jordania, Israel, and Indonesia, and they both agree that our mothers are the best chefs that we.
True.
If we're gonna emulate something to cook, I think you have to emulate your grandmother and your mom. Because
Yeah.
how would she prepare something? And the other component is you prepare for friends and your loved ones.
Yeah, yeah. I did notice that when even it comes to restaurants too, the restaurants that are most spoken about, most popular among everyone are the ones where the chef is truly passionate about what they're making. Right?
Absolutely.
It goes back to the same love that you're talking about, that mom or grandma. It may not be exactly the same, but they have like that true passion for
I was
making the
in
food.
Malaysia. I
Hmm.
remember getting ready to get my ER certificate for diving, which is a requirement for the dive master program. And I stayed in a region where there was a community of sea gypsies, which are they're not Filipino, they're not Indonesian, they're Malay, they live in the water.
Oh wow.
They basically hunt, not fish, they fish on a
Yeah.
daily basis, and they can stand under the water for 10, 15 minutes with one breath. And they
Oh,
come to
I think I
shore.
might have heard about these guys. Yes,
Yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
on. Yeah.
They would come to the port where I was staying in Semporna, Malaysia, where I was staying. And of course, in South America on my trip, I learned how to make ceviche, which is the fish that you cook it with lime juice and onions, and then you don't cook it, you don't boil it or anything. The ascorbic acid of the lime will cook the fish in 5 minutes, and you can actually
Oh,
eat it.
wow.
So I would, on a daily basis, I would find who the providers this community would come to the port, and on a daily basis sell their fish. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about tuna, mahi mahi, and I would
Yeah.
buy 2 kilos for let's see, for $8.
Oh,
The
wow.
best fish.
Oh my gosh.
And I would buy it. I would buy it, and of course I had to fillet it, and I would buy the lime and the garlic and things. And I was staying in a hostel in Semporna, and I would make, and I would say to I had a roommate from Switzerland. Do you want to learn how to make ceviche? And he would say, what is ceviche? Well, you have to go buy the ingredients. So we went to the market and connect with the gypsy Filipino guys, get the fish, and then we had to bargain things, come back, and I would prepare that, and we would have an amazing meal on
Yeah.
a daily basis of different kind of fish.
Yeah.
Um, and there's and from that conversation with my friend, you develop very strong relationships. Food
Hmm.
unites people, especially once you cook something with someone.
Yeah.
There's a magic that happens that you are connected with this person for life, if you will.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an experience that you're learning something new. He bought the wine. I remember we found Italian wine in Malaysia, which is very rare. It
Yeah.
was one of the shelves collecting dust because they don't drink in Malaysia. It's a very, very religious country. But we found this bottle of Italian wine that was sitting there for maybe a year. We
Mhm.
bought it.
Wow.
Here we are mixing things. We're having the wine. We sitting in the balcony in a very modest place, yet we're having a meal and anyway, he said in Switzerland, a little bit of ceviche with a little bit of that, you pay 30 euros per person, and it's just
Yeah.
without a drink. So with a drink, you can spend 150 euros just the two of us. So we
Sure.
had two kilos. Imagine that. So we
Yeah.
stayed one the next day. We invited the rest of the hostel. Um, and then we're playing our tunes, and we made this incredible experience and then we started traveling together some
Yeah.
places in Malaysia, and to this day, we're very good friends, and we discuss about life, my experience in the jungle. He was a banker quitting his job because everybody's doing their hero journeys in parts of the world,
Yeah. Hmm.
cooking. I would say, going back to the cooking, is that component is love.
Yeah.
And also the other component of cooking is for me is the process. There's an alchemy that takes place when you mix lime juice with the
Mhm.
fish, and you
Yeah.
you wait for 10 minutes. The fish starts cooking by itself. You add some pepper and then some onions and cilantro, some jalapeno peppers, and you eat that with a nice cold glass of wine or beer. And there's a fulfillment in terms of, all right, I prepared a meal, we share it with my friends. It's about
Yeah.
cooking with love for your friends, your family. Um, just in Cannes in France, this last time I was there earlier this
Yeah.
year, I said to my host, he's married to the chef of Brigitte Bardot, the very famous French artist. She's 80 some years old.
Wow.
I stayed with them for 5 days, and I said, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going back to the United States, but I'm going to make special dinner for you guys to thank you for having me in your place. I'm going to make some ceviche with some pisco sour from Peru and Chile. And we're supposed to be just the four of us. And she texted her friends, everybody. We had 18 people.
Oh my God.
What? It's like 18. I had to go get another bottle of pisco sour, buy more things, and then to make a long story short,
Yeah.
the French have a saying. It's called la bon vivance, which means they live well because they love eating their food. But they've never had ceviche with a pisco sour, very typical from South America.
Mm-hmm.
Man, usually there's smaller cocktails. We usually have 2 rounds. We had 8 rounds of the pisco sour, and this is the happiest French people you've ever seen.
Oh my God.
We're doing some salsa, we're doing bachata, we're eating the food, and in a way that you connect with them, and they look at you with different eyes. It's like, this guy's all right. I mean, I was just my own self because I know how to cook ceviche and I know how to make pisco sour, but I had to go to find the pisco sour like to the other side of the city and get another bottle of that and the things. But at the end of the day, when you're preparing these things for an event that is like a French, these guys are really well-to-do developers, architects, very, very exotic, sophisticated people. And yet, with a meal, you bring them down to the human level species, and they're true stuff. With cocktails and food, we had the most amazing time. We're dancing samba. Of course, after pisco sours, the number 9, all of us already buzzed. The French, all the time, they're like, whoa, la, la, they're doing like, I'm looking at it like, I said, like, you know what? Thank you, universe. This is incredible. You communicate through your food, your culture.
Yes.
Communicate your energy, who you are.
Yeah.
I think wherever you go, you're authentic and you communicate that. People will appreciate that. And I think that's food opens up the communication channels in a way that there's no other ways to do it.